it's actually your Speedo with America around it.
on the back of it.
Right.
The two,
I prefer banana hammock,
the two,
like a
the,
little bit leaner cut.
the
Does that
250th
America have a
edition.
capital M, sir?
Where did you
Anyway.
find a hot dog Speedo?
Well,
yeah.
yeah, Scott's got the show from his like mobile boardroom. This like I thought it was
Right.
like mine was kind of okay. I mean, Shaun's got all his stuff in the background, really cool. But you look like you're on Shark Tank back there, bro.
Yeah, right.
Like I gotta sell you something. I
Impressive.
gotta invest in something. What do you got? What you got?
Yeah, it's like it's not like a pop-up old school like with the vinyl flapping in the background,
Yeah, right.
while I'm trying to talk.
Right.
It's like put the awnings away.
It looks like it honestly looks like a boardroom the way it's laid out.
It does.
If we do any audio,
That was the package I asked
Yeah,
for.
right.
I asked for the board. I asked for the
Can I have the boardroom package on that fifth wheel?
Do you sit Chrissy down and give her a hard time there when she doesn't clean out the sewage tank properly? Like, you need to come up to the boardroom. I got to
Right.
talk to you about something.
She comes in here for her evaluation. We do her evaluation.
Right. Verbal counselings you can do out there near the porta potty or the
Right.
Right.
the showers
At the
by
pool or by the hot
But
tub.
a formal counseling needs to happen in the boardroom. I think
I'm gonna
creates the idea like I didn't know I was being counseled. Like you could say that when you're just dumping this shit on the side of the road, but like because it's like am I in custody, or not? You know what I mean? But
Right.
in the boardroom, you're getting counseled. So
And the campground resort coordinator is actually like her union rep. She's like, no, don't sign that.
Right.
She's not going to sign that.
No, she's not gonna
Well,
send that.
is that considered glamping? Because that's like my girls want to do.
Oh,
Is that glamping?
This is very much glamping. There is no Oregon Trail. You've died of dysentery here. This is like
Yeah. Your health is
This
better
is-
when you're done. You're actually better off when you're done.
yeah. I mean, this is when you're talking about celebrating America and how great things have gotten. It's when you've gone from covered wagons to a fifth wheel camper with a ceiling fan and an electric fireplace. You know that you've made it.
Right.
Oh,
Well, it was-
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it was,
That's
uh,
awesome.
Beautiful
I,
South Haven, Michigan.
I like the part where you can hang the TV outside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what? That's the one option I don't have. So
Oh, what did you have in your last one?
the other one we did. Yeah, I remember the one from many moons ago. Yeah, you could bring the TV party outside, watch your NASCAR or whatever you want to do out there, or
You had to get rid of it because Ryan was bringing the kids over from the other campsites, and you guys were watching scrambled porn on it at night. Like,
right.
so it's like, all right, we got to get rid. We can't
Everyone's
do this.
tired of me watching The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross outside, and they're like, "Can we put on some sports?"
Right. Does this thing get UHF?
Chrissy's out there with the bunny ears and the aluminum foil, trying to
Right,
get
move to the left.
Anyway, well, how was your 250th? I worked, like I said to somebody that was complaining about at work, like, man, I can't believe they're making us work on the 4th of July. Like, how long have you been
Right.
a cop, dude? Yeah, like you work
Right.
4th of July more than you work Christmas. I mean, like seriously, like this, it's like New
Yeah.
Year's and Christmas are like big holidays, but 4th of July is the granddaddy of them all for needing police officers work. One, it's summer. Two, it draws large crowds of people. Be out there. You know what I mean? But this guy was complaining. I was like, whatever. But I was like, yeah, this is, I think, my 26th 4th of July that I've missed.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
You should be like, hey, bro, if you name the 4 guys of Mount Rushmore, you can go home. And he'd be like,
But it was
But
good.
yeah,
It was a
I mean,
good time,
this-
you know?
I think the last 2 years, like you said, is the only time I haven't worked the 4th of July, because I'm pretty sure almost my entire career, I don't think there
we
was
all worked the 4th of July.
there was
And
not
we all
many
got
4th
ready-
of Julys that were off, but
And we all got
And if-
ready for
and if you were-
stacking calls,
Right.
like shots fired and all, yeah.
Good. The typical 4th of July is everyone's now a firearms expert.
Right.
Everyone's the human version of shot spotter. It could be fireworks. It could be gunshots. I'm pretty sure it's gunshots. And then, when the dispatcher asks you, you get there and you ask the guy that called in the shots fired. You're like, well, what, why did you think? Look, listen, man. I was in the 75th Ranger Battalion. I know what gunfire sounds like. And you literally walk in the guy's backyard and you go, hey, your kids were shooting off bottle rockets. Audie Murphy, Fucking get it right. I mean, like you're ways. It's the 4th of July. You live in the safest
Right.
neighborhood in America, and all of a sudden, people are out there cracking rounds off like you're with the liberation of Baghdad. I mean, what are you
Right.
kidding
Right.
me? Like, and
Yeah.
and the poor dispatchers have to take these calls and they have to handle them because when people say per policy, hey, it's shots fired, they got to tone everybody
Right.
out or whatever to the point where they're like, you can hear the anxiety in the dispatchers. Where it's like, here's another one, but I got to do this, and everybody's like, oh my god, seriously. But it
Right.
was great. I mean, it was great to see it. A great fireworks show. Like people were really orderly and nice and cool by and large, at least for the people coming to the city to see the stuff that was going on. And you stand there and you're kind of, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of in awe. I'm like, I think as a country, we're losing sight of how good we really have it. Like it's our 250th birthday, which makes us like still like a baby country.
Yeah.
Like we're still like a little baby
Mhm.
country, and the great
Yeah.
things that we've all had access to. But like, you look at democratic socialists being elected across the country, and you think to yourself, well, how long is this going to last when we're electing people who think the very thing about this country is that it's the worst thing that ever happened to humanity? And you look around and you just see, to a certain degree, the decadence, the opulence, the diversity. And I know this all sounds corny to people, but you're standing there in the midst of it as a cop, and you're like, people are walking up to you and thanking you and bringing their kids up to you, and like, I
Mhm.
don't know, get out a little bit more if you think this country sucks, because what I witnessed was like great. It was really cool. Like
No,
the,
I think you're just seeing a lot more people like just realizing, okay, even though you're voting, you're going for this whole DEI, and let's vote in a Muslim mayor and all this other stuff. I think you actually see people are like like yesterday. Vandami said, oh hey, we're gonna have this drop, but nobody can go because I think he put it under the heat wave. Nobody can go. And then he
Yeah.
did. I don't know. Did you see the commercial where he had George Washington's desk?
No.
no, I didn't see that.
So it, if you haven't seen it, Google it. It's very short, but he's sitting behind George Washington's desk with all the immigrants, gay pride, the whole bit, basically saying that that the America we have now should not be our America, basically. And you see that, and you got people actually going, okay, well, all right, what do we do? What do you do? Because this could actually get bad. I mean, this could actually, like, the government grocery stores and everything. I think they're really starting to think of, hey, we probably got to get back to some sort of common sense politics someplace, because if you go to the extreme either way, and that's really not what it's not what it was supposed to be anyway. It was supposed to be common sense, where you don't have a common rule. You have people that could sit and you could talk and you could come to a common ground. And I just think a lot of people are seeing this, and it's getting bad. And I think you also see it like the attacks on the police, and the violence that, I mean, people are fighting over, like, bumping into each other, like out and out brawls,
Mhm.
or they're just attacking the police because they're the police, because they want a video to go viral. And
Yeah.
I just saw some of that stuff yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I think people are starting to get it a little bit.
Yeah. And I, to your point about it is a big deal because it's 250 years. Like it's a
Yeah.
big deal. And I'll tell you, all these people that are pushing all this socialist bullshit, they might be getting some traction now, but I don't think that that's going to last, because it's just not what even people who might be a little bit more to the liberal side, that's not what they want. They don't want their country being turned into something that it's not. Are you always trying to improve, and is there
Absolutely.
always going to be debate on both sides? For sure. But I'll tell you what, if you didn't, I look at, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I'm not a big soccer fan, but all the people that came here from other countries to watch the World Cup.
It's football, Scott.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
We just watch American
football.
football.
Right, right. Um, Showing those folks coming here, there's been a million news stories about
Yeah.
how much they love coming here, how much they say, oh, a lot of the media things that they get is just not accurate to what here. And they were welcomed here. Like they were welcomed here to come be visitors there, eating, drinking, having fun, meeting people, doing this, seeing all the amazing things that really is what this country is all about, which is why people try to come here all the time.
Right.
That's that people always talk about, oh, this country's so terrible. Then why are so many people trying to come here? You know what I mean?
Right. And
And if
they they all got, not to interrupt you, but and they all came in here legally
Right.
with
Right.
visas.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
And if you, I'll tell you, if you don't, as an American, whether and if you've been in the military or had family in the military, or you immigrated here from another country, however long you've been here, or maybe you're first generation, or all of those things that makes America great. If you don't look at those things that were happening yesterday, like the fireworks shows in DC and the fireworks shows around the country, and I don't know if you saw the new Air Force One doing
dude,
like a
that was awesome.
flyby of
With
that aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is awesome. Like, that is America, right? I mean, it would only have been better if there was like eagles flying alongside of it, I mean, like, what? I mean,
Yeah.
and to hear those service members out on that boat just cheering for that. I mean, that is what you want. That is what
Right.
you do it for. Like, that is what that sense of pride is. And even though people disagree and at times things are bad, at the end of the day, this is the best place ever. And I don't understand the people who just have this hatred for this country. I mean, and a place where you're allowed to have that. You should be thankful
Right.
that you're allowed to have that, and you're not in some other kind of communist country where you just get snatched up off the street and locked away. But it was awesome. I mean, they
That
got to
was
see
good.
Air Force One. I got to see a golf cart parade. I mean, it's different scales,
Greatness of America. The
but
greatness of America.
it is still it's still great.
I remember how proud I was when I immigrated here from New Jersey. It was so nice. It was so different. I was so proud to have survived and got through that, and lived whatever. But the thing is like when you're working these events, you still have to interact with people that are largely clueless to how good we have it and the reasons that we have it good. And one of the ones that I really like where we used to work, we'll talk crap about like when things didn't work. But one of the things that I liked that they did, because I got to do it a lot, was that, there's these react forces that show people like, oh, there's the cops. And then there's these guys like when the canines show up, it's like, oh, I guess they're being serious now because they have the dog. You know what I mean? Well,
Right,
there's these
right.
QRS guys, quick reactions teams, whatever they call them, that are probably made up of TAC guys or SWAT guys. And you show up and you got your gear on and you're wearing it to kind of send a message to anybody that might want to do harm, because those events, folks, Scott can tell you about this. They're really, really hard to control, particularly 4th of July, New Year's Eve, because it's like we're asking thousands upon thousands of people to come. We can't discriminate against any of them, as we shouldn't. And, how do you do a clear bag policy for an open fireworks show where people can drive in from every possible angle of cars and things like that? Like, we're relatively lucky in those senses, but you always get the somebody somewhere that, again, wants to exercise the First Amendment right, that they should, that has to say to you when they see a guy in a green outfit, I feel intimidated. You just cheered for a B-2 bomber flying over your city that could level a block in Baghdad indiscriminately,
Right.
and you loved it. Or the Apaches with the Hellfire missiles and the 30-millimeter chain gun, and everybody's losing their fucking minds for that. But you get really upset and feel intimidated by the police officer that steps out of the unmarked vehicle wearing what they like to call fatigues, like you're some
Like
somebody
Desert
fighting.
Storm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like crazy things like that. And I think to myself, ma'am, do you realize that some people don't do bad things. Some people, no matter in the midst of doing bad things, want to do worse things. And these guys and girls, for that matter, come out and they're really there to represent. Like, hey, just so you know, if you don't, and you get so inclined to do something silly here, pull out a gun, start lighting people up. You're going to have people that have been trained, that have a lot of good weapons, that are not here to CIT you and talk you down.
Right.
They're going to stop the bad things from happening and the worst things from getting worse. And you still have people that make comments like that. So a lot of agencies will retreat and retract and go, well, we're going to put you guys out, but we're going to put you in uniforms that don't work. They're called polyester blue uniforms. And we're going to make you even more uncomfortable with all of the things that we have to wear and carry around. Now, everybody accepts their mission and does what they got to do. But it's never because it's well, it doesn't make sense tactically. It actually could keep you alive to be in the gear that you normally train in. It's to appease the 1% that come up and say, is this really necessary? Go sleep soundly in your bed. Go read a little Orwell or something, or just
Orwell.
go get a clue as to you're offended by this, but you're watching a fireworks show that's being fired off the back of a freaking aircraft carrier.
Right.
That we've be a tourist attraction. You know what I
And
mean? It's
and
just
what has happened to people that just, I mean, these triggered soft people who
Oh,
that offends you. And like what you were saying about with the planning of these events, I mean, for the last however many, the last few years I was working, that's all I was doing. And it's funny because we would have those kinds of plans in place with SRT, you know, members that are out there with armored vehicles and rifles, and they're not walking around pointing them at people, but they're out there for presence, and that presence is a huge part of it.
yeah,
Keep talking about de-escalation. There's de-escalation right there. That
right,
is the fuck around and find out element of
right.
police work. And it was I was surprised that I would have agencies, because we were such a big department, and I would have people from other agencies who would call me and say, "Hey, how did you deal with the fact that you were putting officers or snipers or SRT members out there with rifles, and what was kind of feedback were you getting?" And it was the same kind of thing like Shaun said. 99% of the people didn't give a shit. They
right,
actually, a lot of times, were like, "Oh man, I'm glad these guys are here just in case."
Bring their kids up to take
Because
pictures with you. You know what I
right,
right.
mean?
right.
It's
They
unbelievable.
would spend more time, yeah. Kids wanted to come up and stand on the front of the Bearcat and take a cool picture, or all the young girls are up flirting with the, sleeved out SRT guys, and it's community involvement, and everybody
Right.
knows it's not like they're telling you, "Get away from us. We're too serious. We're here on this big operation." No, we are here. We are part of the event. We are here to interact with the public. But by the way, we are also the people who are going to be jumping all over that threat if this thing goes sideways. And I understand, that different departments have different resources. And, we saw things in Illinois like Highland Park, which was one of the worst Fourth of July massacres,
Right.
at a Fourth of
Yeah.
July celebration that I've ever seen. And it was very close to home, and it had a huge impact on how we plan for events and reading the after actions. And I mean, it was a lot, and it was horrible for the attendees. It was horrible for the officers. It was just a terrible moment in the history of that community. And when you talk about these things about why do we do this? Why do we have things out there? That's why. Unfortunately, your feelings don't trump the reality of what we might have to do in a critical
Right.
incident. Yes, those guys, we kind of downplay it, and, don't, get into the nitty gritty of what's really happening. But folks, those people are there for, God forbid, a person with a gun, a bomb, driving a car into an event. They are there to neutralize those people. That is their number one priority. And God forbid that it gets to that, but that's there for that. And when communities and that do that and practice that, the people that you're always going to have problems at large events. I mean, it's just the way it is. But that is a huge part of people looking at that or scoping that out and going, "Man, maybe this isn't the place that I want to come and do the backpack bomb, or maybe this isn't the place that I'm going to bring a gun in here and shoot somebody." And what what's crazy, and how that ties into like what Chris was just talking about over the weekend with, I- am I'm not even going to call it teen takeovers anymore. I'm just calling them mob actions, because
Mob
they are
action.
not teen takeovers. These things are mob actions. These are people committing crimes. This isn't a YMCA camp, out at the beach. It's bullshit. And you had, just over the 4th of July weekend, an incident not far from where we were at in Illinois. You had an incident in South Carolina, another incident in Virginia Beach, where cops were getting attacked at these events. One of them was a fireworks show. One of them was like a beach party, something thing. I don't have all
Was
the
it a block
details, but
party? Yeah.
regardless, this was cops who were out there for these events, and they try to calm these crowds down, try to control these crowds. And what happens? The crowd turns on them. And the one, which was terrible to watch, in South Carolina, this female officer is getting attacked by a mob of people and punched and knocked to the ground. And another officer's trying to peel them away. And I mean, it goes back to, and I had mentioned this before about Chicago when we saw this stuff happen in Chicago. And I just look at it from a planning background and a background of working protests, whether I was involved frontline in a protest or doing planning for a protest. You can't operate like this anymore. You can't just say, "Oh, we think there might be a teen takeover and we're going to have 2 extra people working that night." No, you have to be ready for mass arrest situations, shutting down roadways, locking people up, having state's attorneys there to approve charges. You really need to come out heavy and be ready to handle this. And if it doesn't turn into that, or you show enough uh, command presence, we'll say, that it doesn't turn into that, fine. You're still going to maybe have some little skirmishes and whatnot, but you have to come out. These things will not stop if you don't come out as a police department and show your hand and be like, listen, see these people with riot helmets and shields and full, riot gear suits and batons. This is not going to happen here,
Right.
and there, and you got officers getting hurt all over the place. And part of it, I think, is where they say, "Oh, well, we don't want to seem like it's too heavy-handed." And this, you're not being heavy-handed. You're coming out prepared, and you're letting people know this isn't going to happen here. And if it does, just like the one that we talked about a few weeks ago back in our hometown, of tons of officers there, lots of arrests, writing a million tickets. That's what you do. Those are the things that are the deterrents for those types of events. And I'm so sick of seeing what looks like to me agencies that are not prepared for it, and then officers getting hurt and nearly. I mean, this poor officer, she's getting tackled and beat on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't turn into a officer involved shooting. But anyway, that's my rant about that, because it's just not stopping.
There's a lot of things to consider with all of that. And one, like, a lot of different crises law enforcement's facing right now. One clearly is recruiting. Some agencies may individually be doing well with that, but like, if we're trying to recruit all types of people, not like the knuckle draggers that we were led to believe to be, like when we got hired. Like, you look at our academy graduation picture, largely white males, bigger dudes that, look a little bit more like, well, I don't know if I'd mess with this guy or not. Well, now they wanted to get away from that. Well, what is that doing for recruiting when you're like, hey, I can maybe offer something here and I'm not afraid to do it, but I'm afraid that I won't be backed when I'm getting beat up in a crowd of people. The Democratic Socialists, that the people I'm serving, because let's just honestly admit, a lot of these things are happening in urban centers. They're electing people that, like I said earlier, feel America is the biggest problem, and that police officers are just the foot soldiers of this awful system that's created so much inequity, disparity, and we all need to just make it all equal and things like that. Well, that doesn't help recruiting either. Like, I have people that don't support me, and then they motivate people to violently not support me. Why would I want to come do that? You're going to continue to get people that, like, hey, let's just be straight. Some guys are like, man, I'd love to do that just because I get to beat the shit out of people. I don't care if I go to jail.
Right.
But now I'm on this side of the badge, not on the other side of the badge. Like, you're going to recruit a certain group of people that are wanting to step into the midst of that. And the compensation aspect of it, of lost time, injuries, people not wanting to get in the middle of that, people only wanting to join it because they think they're going to CIT their way out of that stuff, will be sadly mistaken. So a lot of this is just, how we're morphing as a society, but it's not really helping when we don't come prepared, because eventually people will go, oh, I'm not going to go to that one, because that one, you're going to get your ass beat. That one, you're going to get run
Right.
over in a teen takeover or mob action. And that inevitably just hurts that town, because people don't come there and spend their money, don't want to be part of it, don't want to pay taxes in that city. The cops abandon it and go somewhere else. Like, you're seeing mass exoduses from all of these places, and they're coming to these new places. And the concern that people have in there is, like, don't bring those rules down here. Don't bring your super liberal ideologies and
Right.
elect politicians down here that will act the way that they did up there until 10, 15 years from now, we're a bombed out hole of a city like the cities you're leaving. Now, Mandami and what he's doing, that is a direct reflection of people not being engaged and involved and, one, educated as to what
Right.
he is peddling. I mean, that is a failure, a total failure of the entire system. It's not just the police fault that he can like with all those people standing behind George Washington's desk. I was thinking to myself, man, the Freemasons have really let down their standards. They must have a recruiting crisis as well. But it's like, look, folks, you're going to get what you get. And, you might feel good when you walk in and go, man, I checked this box because this person's making me feel good about equity, inclusion, and righting the wrongs of the past, because I inherently hate the nation that I live in. Well, Look, it's never worked. It's not going to work. Democracy is not perfect. The republic that we work for was never established by perfect men, anything, but it's the closest thing we've got to a world where people can come and say, that's still the city on the hill. Well, we're electing and hiring people that educate us to hate our own country.
Right.
We're not going to last. We are
Right.
absolutely not going to survive until more people, the 99%, start stepping up and getting involved. And look, it's not about soccer tournaments. It's not about, World Cup. All that stuff is fun. But folks, the emphasis we place upon bread and circus, we also need to place on things that we as responsible members of a republic need to do a better job of educating ourselves to. Like, although maybe the guy says some flowery things and it might sound really good, if you don't understand economic policy well enough to know that you can't spend more than you make,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. Police work and policing, civics of policing, is going to be totally lost on you, because you might not have a cop in your life every day, but you sure should have a fucking checkbook in your life every single day. And if you can't balance a checkbook, and you're electing people that don't know how to balance a checkbook, all of this is going to be, you'll get what you get. Like, hey, we're going to do a 250th celebration of our independence from England that taxed us without any representation at a rate that right now we'd literally be kissing the ground that England laid flags on for that cost. When you think about what we're throwing tea boxes into Boston Harbor about what we were pissed off.
Boston Tea Party.
Yeah, dressed as Native Americans or indigenous peoples. While they were doing it, we're taxed at a third of our pay is gone to things that we may never see. And you live under the collective cloak of that. Yeah. Oh, okay, whatever. But the bottom line is I rant here, but it's just I was sitting there watching this fireworks show, and it's the longest time. Fireworks are fireworks. Like I said, I worked every 4th of July. I watched a lot of fireworks show, and I'm like, yeah, it's fireworks. It's cool. I get it. But I was kind of moved by it. Man, can you believe where we are, where I'm standing, what I'm doing in a city that literally, when that was happening, it was happening for real. Dude, bomb blast. The Brits were lobbing fucking shells that we still find in houses in this city. And I'm like, and here we are. And look at how freaking diverse it is. And I know it was founded with slavery in place and all these things, but it's look at how far we've come. And we still have to be reminded on the daily by our media, by our educators in a lot of ways, by our politicians about how awful this place is. Wake the fuck up. It's great. Fix it. I understand it's imperfect, but do a better job.
And one silver lining to the New York thing is that they actually have created a plan to hire 580 new officers by the year's end, which was very much against what Mondami's
head just exploded.
Seriously,
What?
and they're I didn't realize that they have that many, but they're just a little under 35,000 police officers, and this new 580 should bring them up to somewhere around 35,500-ish. And here they were, he campaigned on, I'm gonna these 1,300 or some positions that were gonna be just absorbed or not filled, or we're gonna fill them with social worker, civilian nonsense. The commissioner has said, no, she went to the city council, this Jessica Tisch, and said, we need more police officers. And she was using the examples of, look, things like the World Cup, things like the 250th celebration. I mean, you've already, for a city like New York, I couldn't, my head would probably explode with some of the event planning and plans and stuff, the IAPs that goes along with that. But you've got so many people working, and you need so many people, and you probably have to account for the fact that you probably have to do some overstaffing just in case people are sick or off, or somebody ends up on maternity leave, or all those things that happen. And they're working 12-hour shifts. I mean, these officers are out there hustling, but you can't continue on reducing your police force and having people like these Mondanis trying to turn your police officer positions into these other bullshit jobs. And I'm not knocking those social work type jobs. You need to add those people. Most departments have added those people because that is a benefit. You do need those folks, But to say that you're just going to replace a police officer with this person, CIT person, who's going to come there and, talk to the person waving a gun around, that ain't going to happen. So it was surprising to see that, because I have not seen a lot of big city police departments being able to make that jump in staffing, or saying, hey, I mean, now that's not a ton of people, granted, in that number of the size of the agency, but just the mere fact that you are addressing the fact of, or this problem of people retiring, people leaving, people not wanting to apply and saying, fuck this, I don't want to be a cop anymore, especially in New York, like, no way. So it's a good sign. I mean, we'll see if, I guess, maybe there's any other cities that are able to follow.
Yeah, well, you have that, and you also have a lot of people talking about, the millionaires and billionaires, which are quite a few millionaires in New York City, about how unsafe it is and how they want to leave and how the overtaxing they're not getting, the taxes are going for people that, that aren't working, or it's not going just to that are abusing the system, and I think you see a lot of people waking up going, and they can't go to their favorite restaurant anymore because you got these these mob action, and they mask it as team takeovers or whatever, or you can't go to watch a movie, or you can't go to Broadway because you're gonna get held up after 9 o'clock because you get all these youths running around, being able to run around wild, and they're realizing we need more police, and then we need more consequences. It's going to be a tough road to get it back, but I think this is a good. I personally, I'd like to, look at it as like a middle finger to, the liberals that wanted this to happen. So there's 538 of them or whatever it is, but I just think that it is needed, and like you said, 500 in the scope of 35,000, but if you put 500 coppers, back, on the street, that'll make, a difference. But I just think it's starting to go down the road where people are kind of seeing this going, I kind of really wanted to go against the grain, but it's kind of biting us in the ass right now. And I think you see it all. I think you just see it all over. And I just think this
New York,
is,
they just had a clean run in their state house where they had Democratic left-leaning progressives elected to office, replacing long-standing Democrats. The Democrat Party has a problem right now that they don't want to. I mean, obviously conservatives are talking about it, but the Democrats don't want to acknowledge their misguided children are now taking over the home. You know what I mean? Like they're Chuck Schumers and things like that are really scared because AOC has pushed that party left. Look, this is democracy, folks. I'm not knocking it. I don't agree with her policies, but the bottom line is
that's part of democracy. You should be able to not agree with it.
But if they're getting it, it's going to be a little while before they figure that out, because like these are representatives in the state house, and they're going to only make that situation there exacerbated. Look, it's democracy in action. Let this socialism fail yet again this time, but it shouldn't be at the expense of a system that, although it's relatively new in the grand scheme of how ordinary people live so much better in the grand scheme of the evolution of man in politics.
Right.
That's the thing that's concerning, and at what expense is it going to be? And I'm telling you, folks, it's never comes back like freer. It comes back with more rules and more regulations and more whatever under the guise of it's, we're all getting our fair share or whatever. Look, it is what it is. Like, again, the beauty of 250 is that we're still going and we can continue to move forward. It's just getting more and more with social media and all of these things that are out there difficult to do. When Scott said he had some promise for the city, Chris, I was definitely thinking he was going down. Joey Chestnut kept his title. Just retained his title on 4th of July. 42 years old, just kept going, eating, doing his thing, winning. Like, I think what's going to happen was when Oscar Mayer is going to get his skull when he passes and preserve it almost like he's a saint. But they're also going to hire a bunch of like archaeologists and like forensic pathologists and things like that like study how a guy could eat so many hot dogs, like with this, like, is it his bone structure in his head? Is it his teeth? Like, if you look at his teeth are they're like.
It's like his person's going to be Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
right.
That's what I'm gonna take him in.
And I'm thinking like they're gonna like this is like he's never gonna leave us. He's in that sense. But like they're like I'd say, how does a guy 42-year-old pound hot dogs like that? Like he crushed that Japanese dude, all these other posers. You don't even know their names. Like Scott probably
All these posers.
Yeah.
And you can split his ashes if they ask him my wiener factory because everything else goes into a hot dog. Why not that?
Now
I
now
think
with
they
extra
should actually.
chestnuts.
I think they should actually do like the Walt Disney with him and put him in the cryogenic chamber and just keep him in like suspended animation until at some point like when the aliens take over and we have to bring him out and this turns into some kind of hot dog eating contest and they need to understand like what human tolerance was.
Yeah, right, exactly. And but it's the thing that I think is the best thing about the 4th of July, though, even though I don't get to do them anymore, was always the barbecue. Like when I was a kid, I always loved like my mom was not like into cooking because it made the kitchen dirty. Imagine that, like cooking actually makes the kitchen dirty. But like I used to like how we go outside and grill. Like we grill. Like I know that in the history of mankind, we're not the first people to take food outside and cook it over a spit and really enjoy it and do all these things. But like the idea of the barbecue in America, I was reading an article about people said like the idea of what Americans do, like when they're having a barbecue, it's not just a type of food, it's a thing, it's an event.
Right, it's a thing.
Like,
yeah,
it's like how you do it, like and all of the stuff at it, and they look at America and they're like, how do people live with such opulence? Complain so much like they have everything at their disposal. Now maybe some of it's not the most healthy, maybe it's not maybe it's genetically modified and all these other things that we're doing I think a much better job of addressing, like Europe has with its food. But like that was the thing that I was like, yeah man, I forgot what the barbecue was like, because it's like it's a big day. It's like
it's a big day.
It's a change. Like we're in the summer now, we're eating like watermelon and ice cream and all
you're shooting Roman candles at each other.
Yeah, right. The only thing I don't trust at a barbecue is the corn on the cob. Because I am like, hey man, if you're gonna do it, man, the work should change you. What's happening should change you. There should be a difference in like you in this. So like I ate corn on the cob and it's just like, all right, I'm done. I've ate it. Like I've had a hamburger out of there or watermelon. And like the next day when I'm processing the food, I don't know what's going on down there. It's shit. It goes away. But like I look in the John and I'm like, there's a kernel of corn in there. What the fuck? I'm like, I did my part. Why aren't you doing your part? And I did a little research. I was like, corn does not like break down. It doesn't like the kernels of corn don't break down. And I'm like, look, I want my food to be like a one night stand. Like I did it and I see you again. I'm kind of like, yeah. Like when I see a kernel of corn, I'm like, corn.
I thought you left.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you left. I thought this was over. Look, I did my part. I ate like what a horse would eat or a dog would eat, but I don't want to see you again. Get out of my life. Like,
and this is also why spam dogs will never take over the American barbecue, because it's just it'll never happen.
No, it can't.
Right.
It can't.
Beans, totally different story. Totally different story. Beans, like it's like you're farting. It's funny. It's like there's something to it. But like again, like because like as you stand up, you got to flush the toilet. Like I don't do the reach back. I'm not doing that. Like I don't want to see you. Like it's just like I look, all right, everything checking out, no blood. It's all good. Especially at my age, it's all good.
At our age, you got to check. You got to check at our age,
like,
bro.
For a second, you're like you do that quick look. It's like, is that girl wearing a bathing suit? She's out in public, like at a bar, and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, that's a kernel of corn. What? And then you're looking at it like what? What the fuck is going on? Like, so I was like, out. Sorry.
Well, we're glad you're healthy. We're glad you're healthy.
I love corn. I love corn products. Don't get me wrong. In the Midwest, I don't like ethanol. That's the only thing I don't like about corn. But popcorn, I love. It's like roughage. It's like it's really good. But like the whole idea that it doesn't change in any way. It's like unchangeable. Like everybody should change.
Well, I guess I'm not going to send you any corn from Michigan then while I'm here, so I'll take that off the list. Stick to peas and carrots.
Right.
I eat, but the funny thing is that just one other funny note about corn. Like I eat corn, like I want everything kind of in order because my life, like my brain is so chaotic in its thoughts. Like I eat corn, like it's like a typewriter. I go down the line,
Right.
and then I
Across,
jump in the next line.
rotate,
I
across.
I don't like the ends of the corn cut off because that's like the area where the corn kind of is like not fully formed, but you can get in there and start a good
Right.
line. Like, hey, this line needs to be perfect as I'm going across. Like, some people like eat corn and you look at it and like, what is that? Like, it looks like a French tickler or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? What the fuck? Eat your corn so it's down so I can make a corn cob pipe out of it, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, and they make fun of me because they go, "Oh, Dad ate this corn." You know what I mean? If I thought I were at a crime scene and it was a completely clean kernel of corn, it's Ferguson. Go round him up.
Yeah.
I'd be like, it was me.
He's got this OCD corn cob eating format that he does.
It's great. It's really crazy.
And then if you're sitting next to somebody that's rotating, it's circular, you just can't eat because you're trying to watch him, but you can't focus on what you're doing. And
yeah.
You start
how I'll
panicking.
beat
Left
the
to
rap.
right.
How I'll beat the rap is my intense knowledge of corn, and I can totally like amazing. Like, how do you know that's my fecal matter in that toilet? Corn doesn't break down for anybody. It's crazy. Anyway.
Well,
on that note,
we hope everybody had a happy 250th. And as a young country, we still got ways to go. We're learning every day. But please educate yourself and get out there and vote. The way you feel you need to vote, just to make sure that we continue the growth and we continue to be the free people. I mean, you got people like Poland and Japan blowing off fireworks for our 250th. That's how bad people want to come here, and and people want to be like us. So please, let's keep it positive, and please go to where you get your podcast, leave a rating, review, download, subscribe, tell your friends. Please leave us an email at 3copstalk@gmail.com if you have a question, concern, want to be a guest, have a suggestion for a guest, maybe have anything, maybe a topic you'd want us to cover, or go to 3copstalk.com. You get old episodes there, which I suggest you go listen to and download because we're pretty funny. And you could also leave us an email there. Otherwise, have a blessed week, and we'll talk to you soon.